This is the most expensive Nolan Ryan card, and you won't believe where number 3 comes from. But first, let's go over the 10th most expensive card, which is the 1993 Finest Refractor. Now, what makes this card special is this was the first ever year of refractors. Today in the hobby, everyone chases refractors and other parallels, but 93 Finest was the first time Topps or any other company introduced this technology to sports cards. The total pop on this card is 140, and a 9 sold for 3,600. However, there's been no sales of a 10, and there are 8 out there. The next 2 cards are test issues, cards that weren't issued to the public, however got out and they have been graded by PSA. And those are the pinups from 1973 and the candy lids from 1972. Now these cards are extremely scarce. The pinups from 73 has a total pop of 18, and the 72 Topps candy lids only has 5. The 73 pinup, a PSA 8, sold for $4,900 in 2020. There is one 9, and a 72 candy lid, a PSA 9 miscut, sold for $5,100, which is the only sale of this card. Our next 2 cards come from 1971, and what makes these cards special is the black borders on them. They chip very, very easily, so finding a high grade on these cards is extremely tough, and people will pay a premium for them. Well, coming in 8 is the 1971 Topps, and number 7 is the 71 O-Pee-Chee. If you don't know what O-Pee-Chee is, they were a brand out of Canada producing baseball cards. Originally, they were producing hockey cards, but Topps licensed them out to them. Now, the pop reports on these, you have Topps that has over 5,000 compared to O-Pee-Chee, which is 250. Price-wise, the last PSA 9 of the 71 Topps sold for $26,000. However, on O-Pee-Chee, the last one sold for $3,600. But thing is, the last sale was all the way back from 2015. So there's no up-to-date data on that side of things. However, an 8 recently sold for $1,600. Up next in position 6, we have the 1970 Nolan Ryan. And while this is his 3rd year on cardboard, the card's expensive because it is a high number. If you don't know what a high number is, these cards were printed later in the year. There wasn't as much demand for them, so the pop reports are a little bit lower. You can look back in 1952 Topps for an example. You compare Hall of Famers that are printed early on compared to the last series. There is a big price difference. Now with the Nolan Ryan, a 10 sold in 2021 for $132,000. 9 sold for $8,000. I want to go over 3 honorable mentions before I get into the top 5. That is the 1991 Desert Shield. While everyone knows the Chipper Jones is super expensive, there's a ton of Nolan Ryan collectors making this card desirable. Second one is the 1974 Decal Edge. Really low pop report on these, and it's an earlier card in Nolan Ryan's career. Last one is the 1972 Topps. As you've seen from this list, a lot of early Nolan Ryan cards are on here. 72 just missed out. Coming in number 5 is the first Nolan Ryan rookie, and that is the 1968 Milton Bradley. Now, these cards were distributed in board games called Win a Card, and the pop report on these under the PSA side is under 500, but it is a bit of affordable rookie card. Not a lot of people are chasing after them. The last 9, which is the highest graded, sold for $18,000 in 2022. Then we have an 8 at $8,500 and a 7 at $2,750. Another rookie to keep out for is the 1968 O-Pee-Chee. Very similar pricing. A PSA 8, which is the highest graded on these, sold for $21,000. The 7 at $5,000 and a 6 at $3,000. The O-Pee-Chee though is a lot scarcer with a total pop of 147. Up in the number 3 spot, we have a release from South America, which is the 1968 Topps Venezuela. Now, these cards are extremely tough because the card stock quality isn't that great, and you had to ship the cards from South America all the way to America if you're going to get these graded. And the highest grades on these are about 4 to a 5. A PSA 5.5 sold for $16,000. A 4.5 sold all the way back in 2016 for $18,000. Now the pop on these are extremely low, pop 30. So a PSA 2 also sold for $3,600. Really expensive in lower grades. You aren't going to find anything in that high-end 8s, 9s, or even a 10. Up in the number 2 spot is a second-year Nolan Ryan card, and that is the 1969 Topps. Now, the highest graded out there is a PSA 10, and that sold for $20,000. But that is all the way back in 2012. Prices have appreciated a ton since then. In fact, a PSA 9 sold for $12,000 in 2021, and I would not be surprised if that 10 got to auction today. Would be well over $100,000, maybe $200,000 on this card. It is Nolan Ryan's first card by himself since the 68 has him split in the image with Kuzman and then also Ryan. So if you want the full picture, that is the 1969 Topps. And number one on this list is the 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan rookie. Now in high grade, these cards are extremely expensive. The PSA 10 sold for $600,000. The 9 is also a six-figure card at $100,000. Now lower grades are a lot more affordable for a collector, but if you're trying to get to those 8s, 9s, and 10s, you are going to be paying a pretty penny because Nolan Ryan is one of the most iconic figures in baseball and in sports cards.